The captain has won the game for Nigeria. The man who's played the
little warning sends it to Victor Osimhen.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to yet another season of football. And boy, am I excited. So the 21-22 season is right around the corner. We've had a few leagues already commence, and the Premier League as well as the Bundesliga and some other leagues will be starting over the next weekend. On this episode, I'll be running through all the transfers of Nigerian players that have happened in Europe so far, well, the notable ones that I need to speak about. And then I'll also go through a list of 10 players to watch out for this season with different scenarios in their careers or crossroads that we need to speak about. After that, I'll also be touching on all the games that have taken place over the weekend because Ligue 1 resumed, as well as the Portuguese League and some other leagues in Europe. And then I'll be finishing off with any updates on the Super Eagles and just touching on ones to watch for the next round of games. Before I get into the podcast, please make sure you follow us on our social media channels. Twitter, that's at NFWPOD, NFWPod, or on Instagram at Nigeria Football Weekly, or on Facebook at /Nigeria Football Weekly. Or feel free to also follow us on YouTube, channels called Nigeria Football Weekly as well. I've also created a Discord channel for us to talk all things Nigerian football, so make sure you follow that, and the link to that Discord channel will also be in the episode notes for this particular podcast. So as I said, we're starting this week's episode of the podcast with all the major transfers that have happened with Nigerian footballers for us to be aware about so far, and I'm going to go through them in terms of their market value. So the biggest transfer in terms of actual market value, not necessarily price, has been Onyekuru. So he was previously signed to Monaco, but it just didn't work out for him in the French town or city, as you'd say. So he's now moved to Olympiacos in the Greek league. I mean, when you think about the strength of the league, maybe it's not the best league you could call out there, but Olympiacos are giants of the Greek league, and at the moment they're also involved in Champions League qualifiers. So I kind of get the logic from Onyekuru's camp and looking forward to that move. And hopefully he could just start games and be one of the main men again, because he's had a bit of a stop-start career over the past 3 seasons. So that's been a big one. Victor Moses, his transfer from Chelsea to Spartak Moscow has finally been made permanent. He's been there on loan for the past 2 seasons, I believe. So that's finally permanent, and he's now a Spartak Moscow player permanently. Frank Onyeka, one of the more exciting transfers of the summer, in my opinion. He was previously playing for FC Midtjylland in the Danish league. You remember in previous episodes, I spoke about the value of him getting a GBE permit with him playing in the Champions League. And he's now moved to Brentford FC in the Premier League. So we're going to see him make his Premier League debut on Friday against my beloved Arsenal. So congratulations to Frank Onyeka. By transfer fee, that's actually been the most expensive signing involving Nigerian players this summer at £9 million. Taiwo Awoniyi, the striker, he was on loan at Union Berlin last season. And he's finally made that move permanent. Union Berlin have smashed their transfer record, paying £5.85 million to Liverpool to turn that into a permanent deal. So we wish him all the best. And at 23, you'd hope he'll still be able to flourish for a long time to come. Chidozie Awaziem, he was on loan at Boavista last season. He's made that move permanent as well. So Boavista paid Porto £4.5 million. So glad to see him finally done with the loan system and Porto, because they sent him on loan for like 6 or 7 seasons. Like, honestly, it was ridiculous. Also, one of the most surprising moves of the summer, Emmanuel Dennis of Club Brugge, who was at loan at FC Cologne last season. Remember, Emmanuel Dennis is the one who had the incident where he ran into some trouble with his teammates in terms of demanding that he needs to sit in a particular position on the bus. And what you notice this season is he actually is in the Premier League now. So Watford have splashed the cash, £3.6 million to take him to the Premier League. I think this is a golden opportunity for Emmanuel Dennis, and honestly, he needs to thank his agent. So hopefully he won't blow this opportunity this time. So that's been a big move for him as well. Ahmed Musa, Super Eagles captain. You guys know how frustrated I was at the fact that he was playing in the Nigerian Premier League. I just thought that was almost a disgrace for the captain of the Super Eagles. No offense to the league at this point in time. But he's finally moved to the Super Liga, so the Turkish top division, signing for a team called Fatih Karagümrük. They finished 8th in the Turkish league last season, so hopefully we can see Ahmed Musa resurrect his career in Europe at that club. People forget that Ahmed Musa is still only 28 years old, so now if he plays well and does well for them, I have no qualms to him still being in the national team setup. But all that kind of pillars moves and being still called for games was ridiculous as far as I was concerned. Also, Peter Onyekuru, he's moved from Stoke City to Watford on loan. So he's going to make his Premier League debut as well. So really look forward to that. We all know about Etebo in the national team. So hopefully he could show some of those big qualities that he's always showing for the national team in the Premier League for Watford. They've got a bit of a Nigerian contingent building up over there now with Truth Ekong, our centre-back, obviously playing for them as well. So that's been good to see. In terms of other transfers to just be aware about, David Aquintola, another player who was playing for FC Midtjylland, he's moved to the Turkish league for Adana Demirspor. He is a winger, I believe. Al Hassan Yusuf, someone I'm very, very excited to see how he does. 20-year-old defensive midfielder. He's moved from the Swedish top division from AFK Göteborg to Royal Antwerp in the Jupiter Pro League. And I'll touch on how he performed over the weekend because he had a fantastic debut. Brani Dawu, you remember Brani Dawu who went to the World Cup in 2018. He's moved to FC Kimki on a free transfer after being there on loan last summer. Iyayi Atimwen, so the left winger who I used to give some updates for Dynamo Zagreb last season, he's now moved to Omonia Nicosia to play alongside Abdullahi Shehu. John Mikel Obi, Super Eagles legend, he's moved to Kuwait SC in Kuwait, probably just after his last payday before he retires, and you can't really blame him at 34 years old. Ogechukwu Azubike, he's moved from Başakşehir in the Turkish league to Sivasspor in the Turkish league as well. Taran Ebuehi, right back and regular for the Super Eagles. He's moved from Benfica to Venezia in Serie A. So Osimhen's got some company in Serie A, which should be fun and interesting to watch. Tolu Arokodare, another striker who was on loan at FC Cologne last season, but it didn't really work out for him. He's finally moved permanently, well, it's still on loan to be fair, from the Latvian league. He was at Valmiera, and he's moved to Amiens SC in League 2. So you would have preferred he went somewhere in League 1, but I'll give you an update on how he's performing so far in that league. And in terms of other transfers to just make you aware of, Joel Obi, you remember Joel Obi, who went to the last World Cup, central midfielder, 30 years old. He's moved on a free transfer from Chievo to Salernitana. So Salernitana are one of the teams that have been promoted to Serie A this season. So that's been a very interesting one to see. Also, a central midfielder, right winger, who I want to talk about, Fred Oyedema. He's moved from Wycombe, who got relegated from the Championship, to Luton in the Championship. And he had what can only be described as a spectacular debut. So I'll be touching on that as well. Also, there's player Bright Enobakare. He was what I'll call a bit of a wanderer. He went to play in the Indian Super League for SC East Bengal. But he's got another nice opportunity signing on a free transfer for Coventry City in the Championship. So I'll be touching on that move for him as well. And in terms of two other moves I just want to touch on, or three rather, Leke James, striker, centre forward. He went to Saudi Arabia to get a nice payday. But he's back in the Turkish league for Sivasspor. So there's a bit of a Nigerian contingent at Sivasspor in the Turkish league. And Nnamdi Ofobo, you remember he made his under-20 debut for Nigeria. I think he was born and raised in the UK. He moved on a free transfer from Bournemouth to Rangers. But unfortunately, he's out indefinitely due to a heart issue detected during his medical. So Steven Gerrard said he's just out indefinitely. So we'll keep you posted on when next he'll be able to make an appearance. And then finally, Anyanwu Iweala, so the player who made his debut for the Super Eagles earlier this year, one of the homegrown players that he used to talk about. He's already off from Eibar, and he's gone to Esperance in Tunisia. So a good move for him. I'm sure he's going to be on a much better salary than what he was on in Eibar. But to be honest with you, I'd be very surprised if this man still gets caught up to the Super Eagles. Like, no offense to him, but the agenda of Nigerian Premier League footballers needing to be in the Super Eagles squad of 23 players or 30 players is a bit ridiculous when you consider the talent we currently have in the national team. So that's it in terms of the transfer round. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigerian they ever carry last.